guys, it's Kevin again, and in this video I'm going to be reviewing to Total Drama All-Stars Episode 9, Zeek and Ye Shall Find. This was probably the most intense episode of the entire show, not only because of the big stuff that was happening with Ezekiel and all that, with kidnapping Chris, but also some of the really big stuff, and especially that ending. Oh my god, that was huge, and there are definitely some things I have to talk about with that. So, let me just get to this episode. First of all, this episode was about Chris wants to throw this party for all of the remaining 7 campers, but before he can throw the party, he has this big party planned for it because it's the 100th episode of Total Drama, and he has this whole big party planned out, but Ezekiel ends up kidnapping him and taking him, and basically kidnapping him and trying to get revenge for him voting him out early in Total Drama World Tour. Now, Ezekiel is crazy. I've never been a huge fan of Ezekiel. Honestly, I am not a fan of what they did with his character. I think it is very, very silly what they did with his character. But it was still pretty awesome tonight to see what they did tonight with him. He was pretty much of a big badass this episode. Not as much of a badass as Mal, though, which let's just get into that. We had a huge thing with Mal tonight. Alejandro is, basically looking for, he has the spa and everything, the spa hotel, and, Chris goes in the spa hotel with him, but he sneaks out because, Chris was in there, so he sneaks out and he sees this control room, and he finds out this is how Chris is figuring out all of their, what they want to do and everything, what their plans are, and he realizes that, we knew that, but he didn't know that, but the biggest thing here is that he sees this DVD that says Mal's Greatest Moments, and he finds out that Mike is Mal. So basically what he realizes is that this new deal that Mike has with Alejandro was total bullshit. That's what he realizes, and he's out to get Mal, and he realizes that Mal is actually planning out to vote out Alejandro later in the game. And so he decides to get revenge on Alejandro. Mal finds out about this, though, and when Mal finds out about this, Mal just wants to stir up trouble, basically. That's what Mal wants to do. So, Mal has definitely a very big agenda in this episode. And, he doesn't find out what Alejandro wants to do, but he definitely has a big agenda. And the agenda is to get Cameron on his side and turn against him eventually. But basically what he does is that, he pretends that Scott and Courtney, he goes and goes BS to him about how Courtney and Scott are saying saying shit about him, basically, and saying how they want to vote him out. And, he says everybody, and he basically starts telling Cameron that everybody hates you, don't trust anybody. And, he says, don't trust anybody, everybody hates you, and everybody wants to vote you out. And he says, and Mal says, stick with me, and he's still, impersonating, posing as Mike. And he says to Cameron, stick with me because I will get you through this, and together we can win the game. So Cameron somehow trusts him. I think Cameron's just way too trustworthy, and Mal basically says, trust me and Zoe, and that's it. And, yes, but at the same time with this, we see that the reason he said Scott and Courtney is because Courtney and Scott, Scott had fallen over and accidentally kissed Courtney, and, him and Courtney started dating, and you know what, at first I was on the fence about them dating, but I gotta admit, they were pretty cute in this episode. One of the things I really liked was that Scott doesn't really know how to be a boyfriend. He keeps saying, he even said to Courtney, I want you to be my boyfriend to Courtney. He even said that to her. I thought that was hilarious. And it's kind of awkward that's kind of awkward, but I thought it was very cute the way they did it. I liked the way they did that, and you know what? That was a nice, I think it made Scott a little bit more vulnerable. Not something we usually see. We don't usually see a vulnerable side of Scott, but we did in this episode, and I thought that was kind of cute what they did with his character, because it wasn't really something I expect, but him and Courtney were cute together, but then we get to something big, because their relationship eventually ends, but, the relationship eventually ends, and because what happens is, Mal is telling, Cameron about this whole plan to get Scott evicted, or Courtney, not evicted, what is this, Big Brother? Eliminated, to get one of them eliminated, and, Cameron ends up kissing Courtney, and because Mal told him to, and we find out that was actually Cameron's first kiss, and after this, Scott and Courtney end up breaking up, and after their 2-day anniversary, after their 2-hour anniversary, as Scott called it, and I thought that was really funny. He kept, calculating how many hours. He's like, oh, it's our 1-hour anniversary, it's our 2-hour anniversary. That was definitely really funny. By the way, not much from Gwen and Courtney in this episode. I'm sure we're going to see more of that in the next episode. We still see that they're friends, though, so as long as we get that they're friends, I like that. But, yeah, so as far as they went, I think they are going to continue their relationship after this. I just think right now they're in a fight, and it's not good for them. Eventually, though, we get to a big point of the episode. As I said, Cameron kissing Courtney is a very big deal, because after this, they're still looking for Ezekiel and all this stuff, and, oh, by the way, the control room was not working because Ezekiel found a way to break all the control room devices, so Chef was trying to find a way to fix the control room and the screen and everything, and it was really funny because he ends up just getting caught up with this guy, with the electrician guy who's trying to help him out, and they end up eating ice cream. I thought that was pretty funny, and Ezekiel ends up trapping basically everybody, except for Gwen. Gwen falls into the hole, but he ends up trapping Zoe, he ends up trapping Courtney, Scott, and Alejandro. And he ends up kidnapping them, put him in this cage. And eventually, though, Cameron falls, and Cameron falls, and Mal says, I'm gonna let you go. I'm not gonna let you go. But Mal walks away, and then Alejandro sees him, and he says, Cameron, come with me, I can help you out of this. And Cameron's like, no, I am not listening to you at this point. I'm getting out of here, because he does not trust Alejandro at this point, because Mal has found a way to turn him against everybody. I mean, this was crazy the way this worked. I thought it was very, very big. And he ends up Gwen sees him basically, and he doesn't trust Gwen either. He just doesn't trust Gwen. He doesn't trust anybody. But eventually he decides, you know what, I need to trust Gwen, because Mal is nowhere to be found. He thinks if Mike is nowhere to be found, he's probably kidnapped by Ezekiel. And basically they see Chris, and they decide that Cameron decides to distract Ezekiel, and Gwen goes to save Chris, which she does. She saves Chris, and Cameron is saved by everyone, and that's basically what happened there. But as it turns out, Gwen ends up winning the challenge. She has to go to the spa hotel. Yay for Gwen. And she sends Alejandro on Boney Island, which is going to be very interesting to see what's going to happen here. And it turns out that Cameron has a way too serious injury to continue to compete. He cannot continue to compete in the game, so he's now out of the game because his injury is just way too serious for him to compete, so he can't compete anymore. And then we see Mike, and then he talks to Cameron's Mal, and he says, I let you fall. I did it myself. I'm not Mike. I'm Mal. And that was such a big scene right there. I mean, how did nobody see that? I mean, they're saying their goodbyes. How did nobody see that? That was so cool how that all worked. I thought, wow, that was amazing. Also, we saw that when Chris was talking to cameras and saying, I'm not afraid of Ezekiel, we saw Mal behind there laughing about it. So did Mal stage this whole thing? Did Mal stage for Ezekiel to attack Chris and all this stuff? Is he the one who staged all of this? I don't think Mal is that powerful, but you never know. Mal is just capable of anything at this point. He's going to turn himself against everyone. And now I love this thing with Alejandro going to get Mal. So the episode ends with Cameron leaving and everything. And that was the episode. And I really enjoyed this episode. Some of the things I want to talk about, though, is that I love now that Alejandro knows that Mike is Mal, and now he's out to get Mal. Looks like next week he's going to try to tell people about it, and I really hope people start to figure out that he's Mal, because eventually he's just going to start betraying everybody. I mean, eventually it's just going to get down to the wire where it's just him and Zoe, and he's going to betray Zoe. That's what I think is going to happen. It's going to be him and Zoe in the final two, and Zoe is just is way too in love with Mike that she needs to stop, and she needs to start thinking rationally. All right, well, would Mike do all of this? Is Mike capable of all this? No, it has to be Mal. And, that's definitely what's going on there. Also, what do you think is going to happen with Courtney and Scott? Do you think they're going to continue their relationship? I think they should. I think they work cute together. And one little thing shouldn't make them stop their relationship. I think they were very cute together, and I really enjoyed them. Let me know what you guys saw of this episode. Also, I thought all the scenes with Chris and Ezekiel were very funny, and the scenes with Chef and that one guy who's trying to help fix the control room, those scenes were also very funny. But that's it for my review. I hope you enjoyed it, and I'll see you guys in the next video, which will be my review of the originals. So see you then. Bye.